Eriksen in line for shock move. It's an El Clasico battle for Traore. It's been a good international break for Manchester City, a transfer roundup, and today's great debate all coming up in the next few minutes. As I am your host, Matt Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. First off, and Spurs fans, look away now. There is a rumour going around that Christian Eriksen will be returning to North London, and it's not as bad as him coming back to Spurs, but joining Arsenal instead. The rumoured deal includes a swap between Granit Xhaka and Inter Milan, and obviously Eriksen to Arsenal. And on both sides of the deal, I just can't see it working. I'm not really sure that the whole Arsenal against Xhaka thing is really a deal anymore. Obviously, after he was stripped of the captaincy last season and all that nonsense that went behind it, it looks like he's become a new player under Arteta. He still has a lot to offer the Arsenal midfield, and whilst there are better players out there, and maybe moving forward he's not necessarily a part of Arsenal's best starting 11, I can't see them wanting to get rid of him so easily. And the thing with bringing Christian Eriksen is, my God, there's so many problems with that. I mean, it's been less than a year since he joined Inter Milan. He's only made 11 Serie A starts, and it's clear that Antonio Conte cannot rely on him. So having seen that at Inter Milan, and with Mikel Arteta, maybe not this season, but with grander plans to try and reach the level that Antonio Conte's Inter are at in the Champions League, why would they go ahead and sign Christian Eriksen? And on top of this, if they wanted to sign a, sort of sometimes missing creative attacking midfielder who may be on a bit too much money for their talent, they've got Mesut Ozil waiting in the wings. I say waiting in the wings, sitting at home because he's not even in the Premier League squad. If they really needed a creative player like Eriksen that badly, surely they'd go ahead and bring Ozil back. It just really doesn't make any sense to me. And on top of all this, bringing back a former Spurs player is a risky move. It's not like he's at the peak of his powers and Arsenal are going to be getting a definite improvement on their squad. They could be buying someone and spending a lot of money on him who's an absolute flop. This kind of deal I just cannot see happening, although it is a rather interesting proposition for Arsenal. As for Xhaka, I said I could see him staying at Arsenal, but if he were to move to Inter, it would go along with Antonio Conte's policy of signing former Premier League players and turning them into something rather good. Funny enough though, I can actually see him doing really well in Serie A. It just got that kind of look about him and his abilities that I think he'd be a really quality midfielder. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure that Arteta wants to hold on to him for now. Moving on then to an El Clasico battle off the field, and that is for Adama Traore. And you're probably thinking, hold on Matt, isn't this the guy at Wolves, the guy that they valued over 90 to 100 million in the summer and wouldn't let go for love nor money? Yes, the very same. The former La Masia graduate from Barcelona. Well, it looks like he could be on his way back to La Liga, and Real Madrid and Barca are both interested. That's because he's just not getting minutes at the moment because he hasn't signed a new contract. This is apparently the line that Wolves are towing, well, unofficially, that because he's refusing to commit his future to the club, they're not going to give him the game time to show he's a brilliant player and then just go and lose him. Obviously, this isn't something that a 24-year-old is too interested in continuing with for much longer. So he's going to go from a squad player to pretty much a game changer, but I think that might suit him. We've seen over the last few years that Adama Traore was quite inconsistent, especially during his time at Middlesbrough and Aston Villa, but really seemed to have got his act together at Wolves last season. He was their key man, he was their star player, and it's such a shame that they have to go not without him, but maybe just not use him to his best of abilities this season. So like I said, he would go from being such a key player to being a game changer at Real and Barca, but it's still a massive step up. Like honestly, when those two teams are having a bit of trouble breaking another side down because they are dominating 90% of the games they play in La Liga, someone with that turn of pace, turn of pace is putting it lightly, with that electric, ridiculous, world-beating speed would definitely allow them to change any game in the blink of an eye, and that's exactly what both teams could do with. I'm not saying they don't have the players who could do that now, just having that kind of option Traore on the bench is unbelievable. I don't think he'd go in and make any starting 11 definitely better and definitely be a starter, but yeah, like I said, spending money on bringing someone in who's going to be that much of a game changer is a good idea. Although having said that, it's probably not a good idea when a bench player is going to cost you a serious amount of money. Barcelona know all about that. Moving on then, and to an international break which has proved rather fruitful for the spirits in the Manchester City camp. First off, you guys saw the result. Spain 6, Germany 0. Ferran Torres got a hat-trick. It's the worst defeat for Germany in like 89 years. And apparently Jurgen Low is going to keep his job, but that's a whole separate topic. Anyway, Ferran Torres, the 20-year-old who cost a little over 20 million, has been a stunning signing from Manchester City, and he grabbed a hat-trick, a well-deserved hat-trick, to prove that he really has got what it takes to bang in the goals as well as be more than just a good winger. Certainly with Manchester City's worries up front, although Gabriel Jesus is now back from injury, Ferran Torres looks like a very good option instead. And on top of this, with him doing so well, it was a good goal-scoring day for Ruben Dias. The former Benfica man, now at Manchester City, managed to grab 2 goals as Portugal won 3-2 in Croatia, although it's not enough to see them through to the finals of the UEFA Nations League. And lastly but not least, the UEFA Nations League. France managed to beat Sweden 4-2 and Olivier Giroud scored 2 more goals, meaning he's within 7 goals of Thierry Henry's record to be the highest French goal scorer ever. This is insane for someone who for the last few years has been more of a bench player at club level, but has been so sensational at national level. Honestly, he was part of the 2018 World Cup winning side, had a great tournament despite the fact he didn't score a goal, and has been France's top goal scorer in a calendar year for something like 5 out of the last 6 years, or maybe 4 out of the last 5 years. It's insane when you look at his record, and he still keeps doing it. According to the manager Didier Deschamps, though, he needs to leave Chelsea in January and play regular football if he's to be a certainty for their Euro squad next summer. Next up then, a transfer roundup of all the rest of the day's news that you might have missed, and unbelievably, you hear me right, Mario Balotelli is in talks with Barnsley over a move back to England. The former Manchester City, the former Liverpool, Inter Milan, and as of last season Brescia player is in talks with a return to English football, and this one would be absolutely stunning. Elsewhere, in Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola has not yet committed his future to the club, with his contract running out at the end of the season. Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa has admitted that he will have to take a pay cut if he's to move out on loan in January and is staying with Chelsea. Frank Lampard thinks that Callum Hudson-Odoi could also do no worse than moving out on loan in the January transfer window. Finally then, we come to this week's great debate. This is where the guys in the OneFootball newsroom pose a question to all of you. You can find our answers in the relevant article in the OneFootball app, but for the comment section down below, we want to know who should be the next England manager. This comes after a lot of criticism has been aimed at Gareth Southgate for his seemingly defensive tactics, and I completely agree. So who should be the next man in charge? Spurs fans, for the second time in today's video, look away now because I'm going for Arsene Wenger. I know what you're going to say. Oh, Matt, he's been out of the game. Oh, he wasn't so good in his last few years at Arsenal. The guy has an appreciation and understanding for English football like no other foreigner does. He literally cultivated English football as we know it over 20 years at Arsenal. Like, alongside Sir Alex Ferguson, there is no other foreign manager who has a better appreciation for the current English game than Arsene Wenger does. He immediately commands respect, has the CV to back it up, and wouldn't need to do too much tinkering within the English squad. I feel like he'd have an appreciation for the way they play, maybe move a few players about, make 1 or 2 decisions, instead of trying to bring through a whole new identity, which takes ages to bring through, which is impossible to do with the odd international break and a couple of friendlies here and there. And by the time it gets to the tournament, all of the other players are so used to playing under different styles, it's quite difficult to come together as one. I don't think Wenger would make too many changes, and yeah, he'd just be such a good manager to have. So there you have it then. Let me know your thoughts on the great debate and the rest of today's daily news in the comments section below, and check out all the other stuff we've got going on OneFootball by clicking here or here. That's it from me, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.